commonly think about vectors as points. It gets really crowded to think about a whole collection of vectors sitting on a line, and more crowded still to think about all two-dimensional vectors all at once, filling up the plane. So when dealing with collections of vectors like this, it's common to represent each one with just a point in space. The point at the tip of that vector where, as usual, I want you thinking about that vector with its tail on the origin. That way, if you want to think about every possible vector whose tip sits on a certain line, just think about the line itself. Likewise, to think about all possible two-dimensional vectors all at once, conceptualize each one as the point where its tip sits. So in effect, what you'll be thinking about is the infinite flat sheet of two-dimensional space itself, leaving the arrows out of it. In general, if you're thinking about a vector on its own, think of it as an arrow. And if you're dealing with a collection of vectors, it's convenient to think of them all as points. So for our span example, the span of most pairs of vectors ends up being the entire infinite sheet of two-dimensional space. But if they line up, their span is just a line.